When people look back at Watch Dogs 1, the first thing they usually remember is the graphics controversy, the gritty Chicago atmosphere, or the revenge story of Aiden Pierce. But something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough is how Watch Dogs 1's hacking system wasn't just a gimmick. It was actually one of the most revolutionary mechanics in open-world gaming, and it quietly changed the way developers approached player freedom. Think about the state of open-world games before 2014. You had GTA, you had Assassin's Creed, you had Saints Row. These games gave you big worlds and plenty of things to do, but most of the interactions were limited to shooting, driving, or climbing. The cities looked alive, but you couldn't really interact with them in meaningful ways. Watch Dogs came in and flipped that expectation on its head. Suddenly, the environment itself became a weapon. A stoplight wasn't just a background prop. It was something you could trigger to cause a car crash. A steam pipe wasn't just set dressing. You could make it explode under your enemies. The world stopped being static and started being dynamic, and that's what made Watch Dogs stand out. And it wasn't just about combat. The way hacking let you peek into NPCs' lives, seeing their names, incomes, secrets, and even shady activities, added a layer of immersion that no open-world game had pulled off before. Suddenly, every single pedestrian in Chicago felt like a real person. Sure, a lot of it was surface level, but at the time, it was groundbreaking. Other games filled their crowds with nameless, faceless AI. Watch Dogs said, "No, every character you see has a story, even if it's just a one-line profile." That made Chicago feel alive in a way no other city in gaming did. What's crazy is how hacking changed the way players thought about missions. In most open-world games, the formula was simple: sneak, shoot, escape. But in Watch Dogs 1, hacking turned stealth and combat into puzzle solving. Do you distract guards by triggering a ringtone? Do you set up an ambush by exploding a transformer? Do you block a chase by raising bridges? Suddenly, every mission had multiple solutions, and it was up to the player to decide how creative they wanted to be. That kind of sandbox problem solving is something that's now expected in games, but back then it was fresh. Even multiplayer had hacking baked into it in a genius way. Invasion mode, where another player could secretly hack you while blending into the crowd, was ahead of its time. It blurred the line between single player and multiplayer, making the city feel unpredictable. At any moment, you weren't just fighting NPCs, you might be outsmarted by another human. That type of integrated multiplayer is something games like Dark Souls or Elden Ring get a lot of credit for. But Watch Dogs 1 was already experimenting with it in 2014. Of course, Watch Dogs 1 wasn't perfect. The story was criticized for being too serious, the driving felt clunky, and people were disappointed with the graphical downgrade. But the hacking? That's the one mechanic everyone remembers, and for good reason. It gave players a sense of control over the world that no other open-world game offered at the time. Ubisoft may have stumbled in other areas, but with hacking, they genuinely innovated. Fast forward to today, and you can see its influence everywhere. Games like Cyberpunk 2077 took hacking and expanded it into an entire RPG system. Rockstar started adding more interactive world elements into GTA online updates.